I've been a professional artist for over 25 years, and I work on things like films and television productions and commercial and theater productions. It's what I do. I'm a creature designer, I'm a special effects artist. And because of my time on a reality show, I get a little more attention than I would had I just gone on with my career. And through that attention, I get approached by a lot of podcasters that want to talk about the show. They want to talk about the films that I've worked on. They want to talk about how I got my start, things like that. And through those conversations, I continually find myself justifying art as a reasonable way of making a living. And it's funny because I've never actually had to hear someone like an electrician have to justify how they make a living. Now, through this constant defense of artists of all forms, I have slowly started to allow it to seep into the back of my mind that, maybe this isn't a good way to make a living. It specifically became clear to me that this is what was happening when my 3-year-old daughter started drawing these amazing pictures. When she was 2 years old, she started out with these really cool, she'd draw a circle for the head and these dashes for eyes and a dash for a mouth. And then slowly it started to develop into a circle for a head. Then it was a circle for these eyes and then a mouth and then suddenly a nose. Then the eyes started to develop. She started putting irises in and pupils in and eyelashes, and the nose became a little more predominant, and the mouth started to get things like tongues and teeth and stuff like that. She was drawing hair. These were different characters, but there was a clear style that was being developed in her 2-year-old, then 3-year-old, and now 4-year-old mind. And I remember looking at these drawings and just being completely amazed. And somehow my subconscious slipped out of my mouth and I said, I hope she's anything she wants to be, but I hope it's not an artist. Because I don't want her to spend the rest of her life justifying her value and her career choice because of the misconceptions of our general population. And the blowback from my wife was kind of surprising. She told me, don't you dare step on her dream. And it was an immediate throwback to my childhood where I was told that, you're going to end up penniless, dead in a ditch. And I would hope that I wasn't about to do what had been done to me and so many other artists growing up. Now, this last podcast interview I had done, I was finding myself in that familiar territory where I was defending artists again. And after the interview was over, I thought to myself, why is it so damn difficult for us? Why isn't there something out there for us to show us the best way to get into these industries and sidestep some of the roadblocks? I mulled it over and I started to think about it. I couldn't find a single resource that would truly give you an insider's perspective of how to do just that. And so I came up with the concept for the Creator's Crypt podcast. Now, the overall theme harkens back to my special effects work. The crypt, the darkness. But a crypt is also where secrets are kept. And this Creator's Crypt is something that I want to open up and share with other up-and-coming artists so they don't have to deal with the same obstacles. So as I'm drafting the theme of this project, I started to think, what if someone wanted to be a toy designer? How could they get into that business? What are some of the hacks that they might be able to exploit to sidestep things like a college degree or whatever other hoops that the corporate world wanted them to jump through? What if there was an indie way? And what about those indie filmmakers who want to create their film, but they need a producer, an indie producer who knows how to get things done and how to bring money in? Some of these indie filmmakers, they just don't have access to the information. What if we could make it available to them? So my goal is to bring in professionals from that indie realm to give an insider's perspective of how best to access that world and what roadblocks and landmines you need to sidestep to make that dream a reality. That's my goal for the Creator's Crypt. And I'm hoping that you can help me out just by listening, just by sharing the podcast. Our first episode gets published on April 4th, 2024. And with any luck, it'll be available on Spotify, on TuneIn, on Apple Podcast and Google Podcast, and probably more. We'll make the video version available on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and even on TikTok. My first 14 episodes have been planned out, and all I need is for you to listen. So what do you say? Let's get started.
Well, I'm coming home from a horror show.